So we are going to go ahead and we're going to get started seated. So go ahead and sit however is comfortable for you, whether that's sitting on your shins, whether that's sitting cross-legged, whether that's sitting on a block. You go ahead and sit however is comfortable for you. And we'll just take a few moments to just take the opportunity to breathe and to connect with ourselves. So the first thing I'd like you to do is just go ahead and soften or close your gaze. And then I want you to fidget around in the body until it feels like you can find stillness in the spine. And when you find that spot, notice where your arms are placed and make sure that the hands are at a place where the arms can just drop straight down. And then see if you can soften any tension around your mouth, around the eyes, around the throat. And you'll just take 3 deep breaths here. Audible breath in through the nose, an audible breath out through the mouth. And with every subsequent exhalation, you just allow a little bit more ease to come into the body so that you can have an upright and vibrant spine while also letting the spine be soft. At the end of this next exhalation, gently close your lips. And then allow the hands to just rest outside of your hips, maybe fingers touching the floor. Keeping the gaze closed or the eyes down, you'll just inhale and let the arms float out to the side. And exhale, let them soften back to the floor. And we'll take 10 of these. And the arms might gradually become bigger with every inhalation, breathing more into the upper ribs and the chest. Exhaling, drawing the belly to the spine. And you're just following your own pace, your own breath. Inhaling, coming up. And exhaling, softening down. For these last 5 to 6, the arms might start to reach a little bit higher, maybe reaching towards the ceiling. But again, you're just following your breath. Got 2 more. The next time the arms reach up and overhead, go ahead and keep them there. And as you exhale here, just root down through the sit bones, reach up through the arms, and imagine that for some reason you're picking fruit off a tree. So your right hand will reach a little higher than the left, and then the left hand will reach a little higher than the right. And you're just feeling a little bit of traction and elongation happening through the spine as you inchworm one hand higher and then switch to the other one. Awesome. The next time your right hand is descending to the floor and your left arm is reaching a little higher, keep lowering the right hand completely to the floor. Reach up through your left and take a big breath in here. And then as you exhale, let the left hand fall towards the right side of your space. Root down through your left hip and just breathe in here. If you'd like, you can bend your top elbow and hold your head with your hand. And then you might push your head back into your hand, reach your elbow up towards the sky, and just breathe into your left side body a little bit more. Nice work. As you inhale, so reach up through your left arm as though you're pulling yourself up. Bring the spine up to vertical, both arms high. And then lower your left arm to the left. Inhale, reach up through the right, and exhale, a little side bend towards your left. Root down through your right hip, and you might bend your top elbow and hold the back of your head with your right hand, pushing your right hand into your head into your hand, and then breathing into your right side. Nice work. Next in breath, the right arm reaches up. It pulls the spine up to vertical. Reach both arms high. And then as you exhale, lower the hands back down to the floor. Bring your hands to rest on your lap, and then you'll just keep your gaze closed or your eyes soft, and you'll take 5 shoulder circles, drawing the shoulders forward, up, back, and down. And notice if your head wants to go along with that or if it doesn't, and you just choose what feels best to you. And after you've gone 5 circles one way, go ahead and pause, and we'll go the other direction. So now the shoulders will go back and up and forward and down. And you're just allowing there to be a little bit more movement in the upper spine and the shoulder blade region, noticing if the head wants to go along with it. And then after 5, you'll go ahead and come to stillness with the shoulders. And then exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. Inhale, roll your left ear towards your left shoulder. And exhale, roll back through center, drawing your right ear towards your right shoulder. And you'll just take a few of these semicircles on your own, feeling the semicircle. And you might notice that eventually you might want to start to explore what a full neck head circle will feel like. And if you do, by all means, feel free to do that. If you're happy with just the half circles, continue with the half circles. If you're doing a full circle with the head, take 2 circles one way and then switch directions. Then this is your last circle if you're circling. And you'll find yourself back into a neutral spine, neutral position, and just take 3 or 4 breaths there and noticing what you notice now. Really stacking your head on top of the hips, allowing the arms to just hang down, and notice how the breath is. Fantastic. All right, if your eyes are closed, gently open your eyes. We're going to go ahead and switch to sit on our blanket. So if you're not sitting on your blanket, go ahead and open your blanket so it looks like so. And then you're going to fold that in thirds until you have something that looks like this. And then you're going to fold that in thirds and you're going to sit on this. And the reason is we're just trying to make something that's like a block, but it's a little bit softer. And then we're going to do some twists to open up our spine, especially since quite a few of us are having back issues. Awesome. And then once you're sitting on your weird blanket block thing, cross your ankles at the shins with your right shin bone in front, and then walk your feet forward so your feet are as close to being underneath your knees as possible. So right shin bone's in front, feet are underneath your knees. Great. Now we're going to awkwardly lift our right knee up towards the sky, super, super high. Take your left hand, hold on to your right knee. Now, if your arms need assistance, you might want to take one of your blocks at this point, but you'll just bring your block to the outer back part of your right hip. You're going to inhale and lift up through the spine, and then exhale, start to rotate towards the right. And you're actively pulling your right low belly away from your right thigh. Now keep pulling with your left hand, push your right knee into your left hand, and you might just stay there and breathe. Fun, little gentle twist. You might feel this across the abdomen. You might feel this into the shoulders. Some of you are going to stay just right here and you're going to breathe. Some of you will start to walk your right hand end or block back and away from your butt. So it's just going back and you're leaning back. You're still pulling with your left hand. You're still pressing down with your right fingers, drawing the belly in on the right side, and you're rotating towards the right. We're just twisting. We're pushing our right knee into our left hand. Some of you will happily stay there, lift up through your chest and heart space, and then turn your gaze to look over your left shoulder. That's your front shoulder. And you just pause and you breathe. The belly is still pulling away from the right thigh. Nice work. Now, gently, if you turned your head to the front, turn your head back towards the right side of your space. If you walked your right hand back, walk your right hand closer to your bum. Gently unwind your spine, release the right leg, release the left hand, and just take a moment to notice how the spine is, how the breath is. Fantastic. All right, let's do that on the other side. So switch the cross of your ankles. So now your left shin bone is in front. Your feet are roughly underneath your knees. If you had a block on one side and we don't have it on the other, you might want to move it over there. Fantastic. And then we're going to awkwardly lift our left knee super high towards the ceiling. You're going to take your right hand and hold on to the outer part of your left knee. And then you take your left hand to your left block or floor, and you're going to take it outside of your left hip and slightly behind you. And you might just stay there. You're pushing down into your left hand. You're pushing down into your right sit bone. You're lifting up through your spine. You're pressing your left knee into your right hand, pulling your right hand into your left knee, and rotating your rib cage towards the left. And if all that's enough and you're feeling a nice twist and release, by all means, happily stay here. Some of you will start to walk your left hand, left block back behind your butt a little, and you'll start to lean back just a little. And you might stay there, again, fluffing up the heart of the chest so it's lifted, it's proud, it's open, pushing your left knee into your right hand, pulling your right hand into your left knee, scoping the low belly. You might happily stay there. You might then turn your gaze over your front shoulder. And again, you're pausing and you're breathing and you're pausing and you're breathing. Awesome sauce. If your head went over your front shoulder, turn your head back to the left. If you walked your left hand away from you, start to walk your left hand back towards your pelvis. Gently unwind the spine, release the left leg, release the right hand, and just take a moment to sit to notice how you're breathing and how you're feeling. Nice work. All right. Keeping your hands on your knees, you're going to inhale and reach your heart and sternum forward, look up towards the sky. And then exhale, round through the spine, pull back against your knees. And you've got 4 of these, just little seated cats and cows, and noticing how this feels. We start to lubricate the spine. Okay. After you've taken 4 cats and cows, next time you inhale, you're going to start to circle your rib cage to the left, and then to the back, and then to the right, and then to the forward, And then you'll do that about 4 times, circling your rib cage. I guess this is clockwise. And you're just noticing how that feels. Maybe this is counterclockwise. It's clockwise for me, but it's probably counterclockwise for you. And then after you've done 4 circles this direction, you're going to switch directions. You'll come through center, and then you'll inhale the heart forward, and then exhale to your right, to the back, go over to the left and forward. And you're just taking 4 circles, and you'll notice that your head has this sort of sinewy thing that happens with it, and let it do whatever it's doing. Just finding the lubrication and imagining for some reason you're a little fairy trapped inside of a peanut butter jar, and you're just trying to get all the peanut butter off the inside of the jar. I remember that's one of those things, one of my the students in my yoga teacher training, that's how she described this. I thought it was the most amazing image ever. I'm like, yeah, I'm a little fairy in a peanut butter jar. I'm trying to get all the peanut butter off. All right, after you've done 4, you'll go ahead and find yourself in stillness and neutral. And then just notice how the spine feels now. Notice if you can take in a deeper breath and let go of a deeper breath. Fantastic. All right, let's go ahead and crawl ourselves back onto our hands and our knees. I would encourage you to pad your knees with the blanket. If you don't wish to do that, it's totally up to you, but I would encourage you to do that. And you can stay facing the front of your mat. I will face sideways just because it'll be easier for you to see, but you'll find yourself in toe squat momentarily. Okay. And you're going to stay there while I demonstrate what we're going to do. So your right hand is going to come to the right, the left hand is going to sweep in front of you, and then you're going to come into the side bend thing. You come back through center, and then you're going to go to the other side. And we're going to do this 4 times, finding a stretch through our side body. So as you're ready, we'll inhale, plant our right hand to the right, sweep our left hand towards the right, plant the left foot. And then as you exhale, you come through center. You inhale and you switch sides. And you're just noticing how we can start to find movement. We're starting to find a little bit of heat now too. And we're starting to find a deeper breath. Okay, so this should be our second set. We've got 2 more. And the arm is sweeping forward each time. You're rounding through the spine, really articulating what we just did. Okay, this next time you go to the right, we're going to stay there. So pushing down into your right hand, push down into your left foot, reach out through your left fingers. You might bend at the top elbow, hold your head, and then just notice what it feels like to maybe turn your chest a little towards the sky or a little towards the floor, pressing down into your right hand, right knee. Nice work. On your next exhale, you're going to start to soften, come back through center, and then inhale to the other side, planting the left hand, reaching out through the right foot, the right hand. You might stay there. You might bend the top elbow, hold the back of your head with your hand, and just take a few breaths here, maybe peeling the chest towards the sky or peering down towards the floor, but just noticing how this feels. Nice job. One more breath cycle here, really pressing down into your left hand. Fantastic. Next exhale, soften through the center. This time, crawl yourselves forward just a little bit. And then you're going to shift your butt back to toe squat for just a moment. And we're going to just do 4 of these. You're going to inhale, circle, sweep the arms up and overhead. And then exhale, bend the elbows, sit your butt back towards your heels. We've got 4 of these. And we want to make sure that we're slowly raising up and that we're slowly raising down. I'm tricking you into doing some work on your glutes and on your quads while you're breathing. And the slower that you move both directions, the more control we're building. All right, this should be our 4th set. Fantastic. From here, crawl yourself forward onto hands and knees and take a few cats and cows if you'd like. You might take a little bit of a twist here. You might just fidget around, but give yourself permission to just start to tune in and see how the body is feeling, how the breath is working. Nice. You've got 2 more breath cycles doing whatever you're doing. So just start to find your way back to a neutral position as you feel ready. Great. Okay. One more thing before we start to do some core stabilization. Let's go ahead and start to walk our right hand over to the right, our left hand to the upper right corner of our space. Press your pelvis back towards your heels. Keep pulling with your left hand, dropping your left ear towards the floor. And there's a slight rotation towards the right. Feels like a fun stretch happening in your left armpit side body. On your next in-breath, push down through the right hand, come back up through center. Walk both hands so they're underneath your shoulders. And then you're going to walk your left hand slightly to the left, your right hand to the upper left corner of your space. Start to press your pelvis back, and then start to rotate your rib cage towards your left. And so you should find a stretch happening in your right armpit. Finding a nice long breath there. Great. On your next in-breath, push down into your left hand, come back up to center. Cool. Now, once you find yourself here, I want you to go ahead and stabilize through the spine. Send your left leg back, tuck the toes under and pause here. From here, push down through the hands, push down through the right leg, lift your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Really dial all 5 toes of that left foot towards the floor. Lengthen your tailbone back and draw your low belly in. Breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. Next exhale, lower your left knee down and we'll switch sides. Send your right foot back, curl the toes under. Push down into both hands, push down into your left knee, and then inhale, float your right leg parallel to the floor. Lift the back of your head, and then we'll breathe here for 3. There you go. Breathe here for 2. Lengthen your tailbone back. Breathe here for 1. Awesome. Lower the right knee down. Now keep your spine engaged, or rather your core engaged, and draw your right hand to touch your left shoulder. Right hand to touch your left shoulder. Now that seems easy. Lower the right hand down. Then touch your left hand to your right shoulder. That seems pretty easy. Okay, we'll do that 2 more times. Right hand to left shoulder. Yep. And then left hand to right shoulder. All right, let's move on. Inhale, send your left leg back, curl the toes under, and then float your left leg parallel to the floor. From here, let's push down into our left hand and touch our right hand to our left shoulder. Yeah, fantastic. Breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. Lower the right hand. Lower the left leg. Let's switch sides. Send your right leg back, curl the toes under. Inhale, go ahead and float that right leg parallel to the floor. And then as you're ready, touch your right shoulder with your left hand. Breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. Fantastic. Lower the hand and lower the leg. Adding on, curl both sets of toes under and hover your knees 3 inches away from the floor. Shift the weight to your left hand. Touch your left shoulder. Yeah, inhale, lower the right hand. Exhale, touch your right shoulder. Inhale, lower the hand down. Exhale, touch your left shoulder. Inhale, lower the hand down. Exhale, touch your right shoulder. Inhale, lower it down. Lower both knees down. Inhale through cow. And exhale through cat. You got 2 of those, or rather 2 more of those, so a total of 3. And you're just noticing how that feels. Started to engage the core to stabilize the spine, and does your back feel a little bit better? All right, after you've taken the 3 cats and cows, go ahead and come to neutral. Push down through the hands, reach your left leg back, float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Push down evenly through both hands, and on your next exhale, touch your left shoulder. If you're happy there, stay there. Otherwise, reach your left hand forward, parallel-ish to the floor. Hug your inner left thigh, parallel or in towards your inner right thigh. Lengthen your tailbone back and hold for 3. Hold for 2. Hold for 1. Exhale, lower the right hand, and then lower the left knee. Last set, last side. Go ahead and send your right leg back. Push down through both hands, and then inhale, float your right leg parallel to the floor. If you're happy there, stay there, or touch your right shoulder. Happy there, stay there, or reach your left hand parallel to the floor. Hug your inner right thigh in, lift the back of your head, and breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. Exhale, lower the left hand, lower the right knee, curl both sets of toes under, and press yourself back to a downward facing dog pose with super bent knees. Super duper duper bent knees. And just notice how this feels. Really push down through your right hand and notice what happens to your left hip. And then push down through your left hand and notice what happens to your right hip. And then very mindfully, you're going to start to bend your knees and walk your hands back to the back of your space. And when you get to the back of your space, you might need to really bend your knees. You might grab opposite elbow. You might grab the back of your skull, but you'll just take about 3 to 5 breaths here, just noticing what this feels like. Okay, nice work, guys. We just got 2 more breath cycles here, noticing how the hamstrings are starting to engage. If you're in movement, go ahead and come to stillness. Slide your hands up the fronts of your shins, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor, and pause here in Ardha Uttanasana. Really send your pubic bone back, really send your sternum forward, and draw your shoulder blades onto your back body. On your next exhalation, draw your left hand to your left hip. Then draw your right hand to your right hip. Hug the shoulder blades together on the back. Start to bend your knees. Sit your butt down and back and reach your heart and sternum forward and up. So now we're in this chair pose. And I want you to really keep your hands on your hips, hug your shoulder blades together, and lift your heart space up. Fantastic. Next in breath, we're going to push down through the legs and stand up. As you exhale, push down on your hips, so push down through your legs and down into your feet. Inhale, sweep your arms out and up and overhead. And like you were reaching for that fruit again, reach up through your left arm and then reach up through your right. And then up through the left again and up through the right. This time as we go towards the right, lift up through your left, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Push down into your left foot. Hug your right ribs, outer ribs forward, your left ribs back, and lengthen your tailbone down. Next inhalation, come up. Reach up through both hands, but more through the right. Grab your right wrist with your left hand, and a little side bend towards the left. Root down into your right foot. Lengthen your tailbone down, and then draw your outer left ribs forward just a smidge. Nice work. Next inhalation, go ahead and come back up. As you exhale, both arms open out to the side and down to your hips. Interlace your hands at your low back, fingertips at the webbing. Draw the shoulder blades up towards the ears, the shoulder blades onto the back body, and let your heart lift. As you exhale, scoop your belly and then start to hinge at the hips, coming forward into a forward fold. Now listen closely. Hug your shoulder blades onto your back, and then maybe you might start to lift your hands up and away from your butt and up and over your shoulder blades, and maybe even up and over your head. But you're hugging the shoulder blades together on the back, so there's a lot of engagement on the back body and not just allowing gravity to do the work. And then as you're ready, you'll gently draw the hands back up towards the sky, back towards your butt. To release the hands, draw the hands down the outer edges of the legs to the floor, and then crawl yourself back forward, or rather forward, to a downward facing dog. If you need to walk your feet back, walk your feet back, but notice how that feels. Great. And then next in breath, come forward into plank pose. And we're going to pause here for about 3 to 4 breath cycles here in plank. I want you to push down through your hands, lift up through your belly, and lengthen back through your tailbone. And we'll breathe here for 3. Lift up through the armpits for 2. Lengthen your tailbone back for 1. Lightly squeeze your glutes for 0. Next in breath, shift your weight forward, and exhale, lower all the way down to the floor. When you find yourself onto your abdomen, pause for a moment with your toes curled under. Keep your hands alongside your lowest ribs. Now draw the shoulders up towards your ears and draw the shoulder blades onto your back. Lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Now from there, lengthen your tailbone back and notice how more of your pubic bone comes to the floor and your belly can lift. From there, extend out through the toes and bring the tops of the feet to the floor. Now, as you're ready, you're going to inhale and reach the toes so far back that they float up and away from the floor. As you exhale, engage the muscles on the backs of the legs even more until you feel all of the muscles engage, and maybe your head lifts a little higher. Inhale, open your legs about 3 or 4 inches further apart, and then exhale, hug them back to the midline. We've got about 10 of these. So inhale, opening the legs. Exhale, hugging them towards each other. Inhale, opening the legs. Exhale, hugging them towards each other. Inhale, opening the legs. Exhale, hugging them in. Yep, we've got about 4 more on your own. And you're keeping your head lifted. And if you want to challenge yourself, make sure there's not too much weight in your hands. So we're really trying to strengthen the muscles around the erectors and the glutes. Awesome. The next time you hug your legs in, pause there. Lift your hands a millimeter away from the floor. Lengthen your tailbone back. See if you can lift a little higher for 3. Hold for 2. Keep breathing for 1. And exhale, lower down. Push down through the hands. Push down through the knees. Come up through tabletop. And then exhale, make your way back to downward facing dog. And when you get back to downward facing dog, this time I want you to pedal through the legs and notice how it feels through the back. So really just pressing and breathing and seeing how that feels as we start to open up some of the back body there. Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and add on. Go ahead and come to stillness. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. And as you exhale, hug your right knee to your nose. Pause. Lower the right foot halfway between your hands and your back foot. So not all the way forward, just halfway. Great. From there, you're going to shift the weight forward so that you can float your left leg up and away from the floor. So our hands are on the floor, our right foot is on the floor, our left leg is hovering up. Great. All right. As you inhale, your left toes are going to touch the floor. As you exhale, you're going to squeeze your back of your left leg and float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. And you got about 5 of these little toe taps. In this position, we've increased the weight that we're using because there's more distance between ourselves and the floor. And again, the slower that you move, the more strength that you're able to build. So we're just pausing, and we're breathing, and we're pausing, and we're breathing. And you're lifting that leg up and down. Okay. The next time the left leg floats up, you're going to pause there. Bend your right knee as much as you need to in order to start to reach your sternum forward. Draw the low belly in, and we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. Next, exhale, lower your left foot to the floor. Plant your hands completely on the floor, and awkwardly, you're going to step back to plank pose. Yay! Okay. Now from here, I encourage everybody to lower your knees for just a moment. You don't have to do this the next time, but this time we're going to do this. So we're in this awkward diagonal shape from our knees through our shoulders, through our hips. You're going to transfer the weight to your right hand and touch your right shoulder. Lower the hand down. And then shift your weight to the left hand. Touch your left shoulder. And then lower back down. You got 2 more on your own. And so you're trying to keep your spine in this long diagonal shape so that the core has to work. And the knees are down just to make it a little bit more tenable at the moment. All right, this is our last set. The end of this set, once that left hand comes down, bend your elbows, lower all the way down to the floor. Extend the tops of the feet to the floor once again. Push down through the hands. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears, your shoulder blades onto your back body, and then lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Really lengthen your tailbone back. Press the pubic bone down, and then inhale, float your legs up and away from the floor. As you exhale, hug all the muscles around the bones of the legs. And then again, inhale, we're only going to do 5 this time. Open the legs wide. And exhale, hug them in. And you might notice that every time you open your legs wide, your chest can get a little higher. And if that happens, keep that lift when the legs come back towards each other. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Nice job. This should be our last one. When your legs come back together this time, hover your hands off the floor, lengthen your tailbone back, squeeze the shoulder blades on your back body. Breathe for 3. Breathe for 2. Breathe for 1. This time, slide your hands back, bring the tops of the feet to the floor, pull your heart and sternum forward and through, upward facing dog or cobra, your choice. And then as you're ready, you're gonna make your way back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. And you just notice, so we did our little leg lifts on one side and not on the other. But how's your back feeling now? How is the spine feeling? How is the breath feeling? How are you feeling? Nice work. All right, let's go ahead and try the other side. Inhale, float your left leg up and back. As you exhale, draw your left knee to your nose. Pause. Halfway between your hands and your back foot, plant your left foot. Great. Once you have it there, you'll shift your weight forward into your hands enough to float your left leg up parallel-ish to the floor. Bend your left knee as much as you need to, and then you'll inhale, tap your right toes to the floor, and exhale, squeeze the back of your leg, lift the leg up. And we've got about 5 of these, so inhaling down, exhale, squeezing everything to lift the leg up. Inhaling slowly down. Exhale, coming up. About 3 more on your own. The slower that you're going, the more muscle that you're building. All right, this should be our last one. Next time that right leg is floating up, you're going to pause there. Again, bend your left knee as much as you need to reach your heart and sternum forward. Lengthen your tailbone back towards your right heel. And we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. Next exhale, bend your left knee even more. Step the right foot to the floor. Plant your palms and step yourself back to planky pose. Nice work. Now, if you'd like, you can lower your knees down or stay in plank, but you'll touch your right shoulder, and then you'll touch your left shoulder, and then you'll touch your right shoulder, and then you'll touch your left shoulder. Fantastic. Once you've done that equally, we'll go ahead and inhale, come through center, and then exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Fantastic. Go ahead and extend the tops of the feet back to the floor. This time you're going to walk your hands back so they're alongside your hips. Turn your palms to face the floor. From here, draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades onto the back. Lift your ears in line with the tops of your shoulders. Really lengthen your tailbone back. Engage your legs, and then you might start to crawl your fingers back and notice how that allows you to lift more of your chest up. And they're not just going back, your hands are going back and slightly wide. Great. From there, your next in-breath, reach the legs so far up or so far back that they float up. As you exhale, hug the muscles around the bones. And then you might float the arms up. And then you'll inhale and open the legs. And exhale, hug them in. Inhale, open the legs, lift the chest. Keep the lift, close the legs. Inhale, open the legs, lift the chest. Exhale, keep the lift, close the legs. Last 2, inhale, open the legs, lift the chest. Exhale, keep the lift, close the legs. Last one, inhale, open the legs, lift the chest. Exhale, keep the lift, hold the legs, hold for 3. Long neck for 2. Keep breathing for 1. Exhale, lower all the way down. Take a moment to rest and a moment to breathe. And then as you're ready, you'll make your way either through hands and knees or plank and go back to downward facing dog. Nice work. Great. And from downward facing dog, bend your knees. Start to crawl your hands back towards the back of your space. And again, you'll take a moment to pause there, maybe grabbing opposite elbow, maybe not. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice how it feels to really let the head hang. Really let the head hang. There you go. Nice. Awesome. Okay, let's move on. Go ahead and release your hands to the floor, and then inhale, slide your hands up your shins, lift your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Now from here, really send the pubic bone back, really reach the heart forward and draw the shoulder blades together on your back. This time, draw your right hand to your right hip. Draw your left hand to your left hip. Inhale, bend your knees, sit your pelvis low, reach your sternum and heart up, and we'll come to Utkatasana, chair pose. Again, shrugging the shoulder blades up towards the ears and drawing them onto the back. You might keep your hands here. You might reach your arms forward. If you reach your arms forward, you notice that that can allow you to send your butt a little lower. And then from there, I want everyone to slide their pubic bone back, and then maybe see if you can lift your arms a little higher. So it really feels like you've got this crazy arch in your spine. And we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. On your next in-breath, push down through the feet, lift up through the arms, straighten your legs, and then again, that little picking of the fruit. So your left arm reaches a little higher, and then your right arm reaches a little higher, and your left, and your right. The next time your left arm reaches a little higher, grab your left wrist with your right hand. Take a little side bend over to the right to really root down into the inner edge of your left foot as you draw your outer right ribs forward. And then inhale, coming up through center, reaching higher through the right arm. Grab the right wrist with the left hand and a little side bend towards the left. Press down into the right foot, especially the inner edge. Draw the outer left rib cage forward. And then go ahead and inhale and come up through center. Exhale, open the arms out, soften the gaze, close the eyes, maybe shake things out a little bit. Just noticing how that feels. Oh. Okay, now if the gaze is closed, gently allow the eyes to open. Shift the weight over to your right leg and bring your hands to heart center. You'll then start to let your left leg become light and float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Now we're going to be here for a few breath cycles. So if you want to circle that left ankle, by all means, go ahead and do that. And if you do that, be sure to go both directions. And then after you've taken your little circles, go ahead and come to stillness. Externally rotate that right knee, and then see if you can draw your right foot to your left thigh without touching it, and then use your hand to adjust it. Well, we haven't been in Vrikshasana, tree pose, for a while, so just notice how this feels. Really press the left foot into the inner right leg, press down through the whole of the right leg, lengthen your tailbone down towards the floor, and lift your sternum and heart up. Nice work. And then as we're ready to come out of this, you're going to release the left leg, come back through center, and then release the left foot to the floor. And then again, just as we did before, you're going to shake everything out. Let yourself just be as you are. And then we'll start at the beginning. So you shift the weight to your left leg. You bring your hands to heart center. You let the right leg start to get light, and then the right leg floats parallel-ish to the floor. And then you might stay still. You might take a couple ankle circles with the right leg one way, and then a couple ankle circles with the right foot the other way. And if you've done that, you'll then come into stillness, externally rotate that right leg, and without touching your right foot, see where the right foot wants to touch. And then if that's not where you want it, you can manually use your hand to adjust it. And we'll just take a few breath cycles here. And again, you're pushing your right foot into your left thigh into right foot, rooting down through that whole left leg. And then notice how that allows the tailbone to descend and the sternum can lift a little higher. Nice work. Gently release that right leg, come back through center, plant both feet parallel towards one another, and then shake things out. Cool. Awesome. So last thing, standing at the back of your mat, go ahead and inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. And then exhale, open the arms back out to the side and back towards your hips. Interlace your hands, awkward opposite interlace behind you. Let your thumbs really rest on your sacrum, your tailbone. Draw the shoulders up towards your ears. Draw the shoulder blades together on the back. Lift your sternum up. Next, exhale, scoop your belly and start to hinge forward at your hips. Now, once you're forward, let your head descend. Hug the shoulder blades onto your back, and you might stay here. You might start to reach your arms up towards the sky. They might reach up and over your shoulders. They might descend over your head, but you're really hugging your shoulder blades together on the back. You're really letting your head be heavy. And then when you're ready to come out of this, you hug the shoulder blades onto the back again. Bring the hands back towards your bum. Release the hands. Slide the hands down the outer edges of the legs, and then slowly crawl yourself forward into your downward facing dog. And see how long and rooted you can keep your heels. Nice work. Let's add on. Inhale, sweep your left leg up and back. As you exhale, draw your left knee to your nose. Plant your left foot halfway between your back foot and your hands. Okay. From there, shift your weight forward until you can float your right leg off the floor, parallel-ish to the floor. Now we're going to keep our left knee super bent. That's our supporting leg. And then I want you to see if you can walk your hands underneath your shoulders and reach your heart and sternum forward. Some of you will stay right here. Some of you will maybe touch your right hand to your right shoulder. Some of you will stay right there. Some of you may touch your left hand to your left shoulder. Some of you will stay right there. And you're just going to pause and breathe in this weird variation of warrior three, for 2, for 1. If you did, lower the left hand and then lower the right hand. Listen closely. Externally rotate your right hip to stack your right hip on top of your left. Keep your left knee as bent as you need to so you can still touch the floor with your left hand. Walk your left hand a little to the left, and then maybe touch your right shoulder with your right hand. And then you might start to rotate your rib cage towards the right, really reaching out through your right foot and finding space. Some of you might lift your right hand towards the sky. Nice work. And then as you're ready, you'll gently lower the right hand down, square your hips to the floor, bend your left knee, step your right foot back, plant both palms, and find yourself into plank. From plank, go back to downward facing dog and just take a moment to breathe and notice how that feels. All right, let's try the other side. Inhale, sweep your right leg up and back. Exhale, hug your right knee to your nose. Pause. Plant your right foot halfway between your back foot and your hands. Shift your weight forward to float your left leg parallel-ish to the floor. Now, stay there. Bend your right knee as much as you need to reach your heart and sternum forward. From there, you might stay there, or you might touch your left shoulder with your left hand. You might touch your right shoulder with your right hand. You keep reaching your sternum and heart forward. And then when you're ready to come out of this weird variation of warrior three, you lower the right hand and you lower the left hand. Fantastic. Now from here, really bend the right knee and then open and stack your left hip on top of your right hip. Reach out through your back leg. Walk your right hand slightly to the right, and you might stay there, or you might touch your left shoulder with your left hand. And then you'll rotate your rib cage towards the left, and you might stay there. You might gently float the left arm up. Nice work. When you're ready to come out, you lower the left hand back to the floor. You square your hips to the floor. You bend your front knee even more. You plant your left foot, back foot on the floor, and you step yourself back to plank and then back to downward facing dog. Then you just pause and you just breathe and you notice how that feels. All right. From downward facing dog, let's inhale and come forward into plank. Your choice. Actually, let's do this. Stay in your plank. Lift your right leg up. Open your right leg to the right and close your right leg back to center. Plant the right foot down. Lift your left leg up. Open your left leg to the left. Hug your left leg back to center. Plant your left leg down. Last time, lift your right leg up. Open your right leg to the right. Hug your right leg back to center. Lower the right leg down. Lift the left leg up. Open the left leg to the left. Hug the left leg back to center. Lower the left leg down. Lower your knees to the mat and lower your chest to the mat. Take a moment to rest. That was rough. I've been doing conditioning classes this week, so that's probably why we're doing all this. And you're just going to pause and you're going to breathe. All right. Let's add on. Bring your hands alongside your rib cage. Draw your shoulders up towards your ears. Draw your shoulder blades together on your back and lift your ears in line with the tops of your arms. Now lengthen your tailbone back and draw your low belly in. From here, see if you can reach your toes so far back that they float up. And then see if you can draw your low belly in even more so the low back stays long and lift your chest a little higher. Now, hug your shoulder blades onto your back and hover your hands away from the floor. And we'll breathe here for 3. Long necks for 2. Hugging the shoulder blades together on the back for 1. Nice job. Now, see if you can keep your chest as lifted and just slide your arms forward and come into what we all know is Sphinx pose. Okay. Now, in Sphinx, we're going to take about 10 of these. You might choose to do less, but that's okay. Or that's okay either way. On your next exhale, you're going to tuck your chin to your chest and see if you can look at your belly button. And then maybe if you can look at your pubic bone, and then maybe if you can look at your knees. And then inhale, lower the pelvis back towards the floor, pull the heart forward and through, lift up. And we've got about 5 to 10 of these. So you're just exhaling and curling under, trying to look first at your belly button, then your pubic bone, then your thighs, then your knees, and then inhaling and lowering all the way back down. And you keep going on your own. And you might find that as you go along in these, some of you might choose to start lifting your knees up and away from the floor. But we're just noticing how we feel. And when you push under, really push down through your forearms, Laura. Push down a little more. Really round through that upper spine so the whole core starts to come online as we do that. Awesome. I will say that this is our last one. So the next time you exhale and round under, we're going to hold here for 3 breaths. So really push down through your forearms. Really lengthen your tailbone back. And we'll breathe here for 3. We'll breathe here for 2. We'll breathe here for 1. And then inhale, slowly lower down. Come back through your Sphinx pose and take a moment to pause. And take a moment to breathe. Okay. We are going to add on. Let's take our right hand over towards our left hand. Let's go ahead and bend our left knee. Take your left hand and grab the inside edge of your left foot. Okay, now I want you to push down through your right hand. I want you to kick back through your left foot and find a fun stretch that's happening on your left inner armpit. Right leg is active, tailbone is reaching back, pubic bone is pressing down, pushing down through right hand. So we're in this half bow pose. Yeah. And then you'll gently release that, releasing the left foot, releasing the left hand. Bring both hands back to neutral and just take a couple breath cycles there to feel what that feels like. And then we'll try the other side. So left hand goes towards the right hand. Bend your right knee. Reach around with your right hand to grab the inside edge of your right foot. Now push down through your left hand. Lengthen your tailbone towards your left foot. Kick back through your right hand. And the more you kick back, ironically enough, and push down with that left hand, the higher you can lift the chest and find a crazy stretch that feels kind of good on the right side. And then you'll gently release and come back to Sphinx. And if you would like to try that again, by all means, try that again. If you want to hang out in Sphinx, hang out in Sphinx. If you want to just hang out in Akrasana, heads up, 7-up style, by all means do that. But you're going to pause and breathe, and I'm going to see what you're all doing. So if you're going to try it again, your right hand comes towards your left hand. You reach around with your left hand to grab the inside edge of your left foot. Then you push down with your right hand, you kick back with your left foot, and you allow the rotation to happen as you lengthen back through that right foot. Yep. And then gently release that and come out. And then try it on the other side. Left hand comes towards the right hand. You reach around with the right hand to grab the inside edge of your right foot, push down with your left forearm, kick back with your right foot, and find that stretch. Nice work. Gently release that. Come back through center. Stack both forearms on top of each other and take a moment and heads up, 7-up. And just pause and you'll breathe. Great.
Is that a psoas stretch?
It's supposed to stretch all of the front body as well as strengthening the back body. You felt it in your psoas?
I did.
In a good way or in a bad way?
In a very noticeable way. I don't know how else to say it.
Cool.
Okay, just
Can,
curious.
can we talk about that?
Now or later? Or sure,
After
you're the
class.
boss.
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
I felt it in kind of where it's hard to notice the psoas, but I felt it inside and down the leg. That
Okay.
stretch. So on both sides equally. Kind of
Cool.
where I think you've demonstrated where the psoas is in the past. Yes.
Okay. All the way down there.
Yeah.
Cool. I don't feel it that way, but it's possible that mine is more, it's definitely a hip flexor stretch. So the psoas is part of that.
Okay. It was a very lengthy stretch. I didn't mean to interrupt class, but I was really.
Steve, you interrupt anytime you want.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Where were we in our sequence? Let's make our way back to downward facing dog real quick. And then I'm curious, did anyone else feel that as well? Steve felt a long stretch in that from the front of your low ribs all the way down to the front of your hip flexor pubic bone area. Oh, hi, Julie. Have you been here this whole time?
I just got here a little late as usual, so I missed that psoas stretch.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to see you, Julie.
Thank you.
All right, and then back to downward facing dog, and just notice how you feel, and you're just moving around a little bit. Yeah. All right. And then let's go ahead and we're gonna come down to our hands and knees. And then sweep your legs around in front of you and make your way onto your backs. And we are starting to wind down. So if you are cold, this would be a great time to cover your body. We're not done just yet, but it's just easier if you put clothes on right now. And then you're gonna lay down on your backs. And then when you find yourself on your back, go ahead and bend both of your knees, plant your feet firmly on the floor. Bring your hands alongside your hips. And so an action that we've been doing a lot is you're going to draw your shoulders up towards your ears, draw your shoulder blades together on your back. Now bend your elbows so you've got little robot arms and your elbows are pointing down and your fingertips are pointing up. Now from here, you're going to push down through the upper arm bones, push down through the back of the head, push down through the feet and lift your hips up. And I want you to feel the inner edges of your feet a lot. Okay. Now you're going to squeeze your left butt cheek and float your right leg parallel-ish to the floor. Straighten out through that whole right leg. There we go. And then exhale, lower the right foot down. Keep your hips that same level. Squeeze the back of your right butt cheek. Reach your left foot forward parallel-ish to the floor. Yeah, all right. And go ahead and repeat that 2 times each side. Now, as you try this, play with the angle of your leg. Notice what happens if you keep your thigh bones exactly parallel to each other and then just extend out through that knee. There you go, Sandy. That looks good. Nice job, guys. Keep pushing down through the elbows. Keep pushing down through the back of the head. Nice job there, Barbara. Nice control. After you've done each side in equal number of sets, you're going to go ahead and come back to bridge. And then lower your pelvis back down to the floor and just notice what that feels like. Walk your feet outside of your hips and let your knees knock in and just take a few breath cycles there. If you want to wrap your arms around your body, great. If you want to leave your arms as they are, great. But you just allow yourself to relax. Okay. If you have one arm on top, switch the opposite arm to be on top. And you'll just take 3 or 4 more breath cycles here. Nice work. Okay. Open the arms out to the right and to the left. Keep your feet this wide and then let the legs fall over to the right. You might choose to just stay here. You might cross your right ankle on top of your left knee. You might take some other variation, but you're just allowing yourself a gentle twist, gentle unwind through the spine. Notice if you can soften any tension around your mouth and jaw, and maybe even see if you can rotate your head a little towards the left. Nice. If that right leg is on top of the left, gently release it. And then inhale, come back through center. Keep the legs wide, and then exhale, let the legs fall over to the left. You might choose to stay here. You might cross your left ankle on top of your right thigh. And then notice if you can soften any tension around the abdomen on this side, the shoulders. Maybe you even take your gaze towards your right hand. Nice. Very gently uncross that left leg if you have it. Inhale, come back up through center. Now wiggle walk your feet so they're hip distance apart. This is a fun thing that most of us can do. Go ahead and draw your right knee into your chest. If you have your blanket, open your blanket and put the blanket around the ball of your right foot. That sounds super awkward. And if you're like, Jessica, I don't want to do that with the blanket, then take your strap. And then when you're ready, you'll just send your right foot up towards the sky. So Sandy, open your blanket. It'll make it easier. Yeah. It's just basically like a fun little thing that you can do without, and then see if you can draw it more so the tension's on the ball of the foot versus your heel. There you go. And then you just pause and you breathe. And yep, Laura, no strap, no blanket, you're doing great. And you just pause here. And what we're trying to find is just a 90-degree angle with your right thigh bone and your torso. So the leg isn't coming super close to our chest. It's at a 90-degree angle. So back the leg away from you enough to find a 90-degree angle. And then some of you will stay here and some of you will extend your left leg long. So that's the bent leg. It'll go long against the floor. And then you're just pausing and you're breathing. And that right heel is reaching up towards the sky. The left heel is pressing down. You're noticing if you're grimacing for dear life in your face. Yeah. And then very gently bend your left knee, plant the left foot on the floor. Bend the right knee, release whatever prop you were using. Put the feet on the floor and just take a moment to notice if you notice anything between the right and the left side. And then as you're ready, you will try it all on the other side. So you'll draw your left knee into your chest. You can use your blanket across the ball of your foot. You can use your strap across the ball of your foot. You can also just hold on to the back of your leg and then send that left leg up towards the sky. And you just take a few breath cycles to pause here, finding that perpendicular angle. So right angle between your left thigh and your torso. Yep, draw your left hip away from your shoulder a little bit more, Barbara. Yeah, and then see if you can push into, there you go. Looks like your hips are a little bit more weighted now. And then if you'd like, you'll extend your right leg long on the floor beneath you. Right heel presses down. And then Steve, draw your outer left hip in towards your inner right thigh, just a smidge more. So other direction, outer left hip comes forward. There we go, yeah. And then reach up through your left heel a little more. Yeah, and you just pause and you breathe. And we're just finding a 90-degree angle. It doesn't have to be like our maximum stretch, just a 90-degree angle. Nice. And then gently, you'll bend your right knee. That's the leg on the floor. Plant the foot on the floor. Then bend your left knee. Release your prop. Let both feet plop onto the floor and just notice what you notice in the hips. From here, it's your choice which leg you want to take first, but we're going to take Sukhi Randrasana, that's figure 4. So you might start with your right leg over, you might start with your left. It's whatever feels best to you. But you're going to flex through that top leg, thread your hands through the whole of your legs, and draw the legs towards your chest. Actively flex through both feet, and then notice if you can keep both sit bones really rooted. Some of you will be still, some of you will rock a little right to left. And then when you're ready, you'll gently come to stillness if you're in movement, and then you'll switch sides. And you just pause and you breathe. And again, you might be still, you might rock a little bit from right to left. And when you feel complete on this side, you'll gently release the feet back to the floor. You'll take a moment to pause, a moment to breathe. And then the last little shape I'd like to offer us all is Happy Baby, Ananda Balasana. So you'll draw your knees into your chest. Maybe you'll start by drawing the soles of the feet together and opening the knees wide. Maybe you'll just directly go into knees towards the outer armpits, feet up towards the floor. But you just pause and you breathe. And after you feel complete in your happy baby, if there's something else that feels like your body might be calling for, asking for, by all means, you'll start to move into that shape. So maybe Supta Baddha Konasana might feel nice. Maybe you might want a deeper twist. Maybe you might want a gentle inversion. But you'll allow yourself to take that final shape. before you move into your final resting pose. Robin, your couch looks so perfect to me. I feel like I would throw my legs up over the side of the cushion and lay straight down there. That just seems like a great height. Oh man. Yeah, no, it's like calling me. I'm like, that seems perfect because it seems like it's right at your knees to support the backs of your legs. Does that feel like that'll be good? Okay. Yeah, it just looks nice. All right. So wherever you happen to be, I want you to just take a few moments to settle into your shape. If you're using blankets or props, make sure they are supporting you in a way that feels really nurturing to you. Really getting really cozy. Yeah, that looks nice, Barbara. I love seeing you all in your homes because you all look so comfortable. Okay. And then when you find yourself in this final shape, I want you to take the first few moments here to really fidget around. Do whatever you need to until you feel like your body can rest. And then once you found that spot where it feels like the body can rest, allow a few moments to let the mind catch up too. So the mind might have its own little residual movements going on and just allow them to start to soften, to settle. And then we'll allow the breath to be the unifying force between these two. So we'll start by taking an audible breath in and then an audible breath out. And you'll just do that 3 times. Big breath in. Maybe it's a sigh. Maybe it's a groan. Maybe it's any of the above, but you just allow the exhale to let you start to soften, to drop in, to settle. And in our practice today, we're going to use this shape. Shavasana is often called like, one of the hardest poses because the invitation is to rest, but to be completely attentive and alert and awake to the softening and to the opening that is naturally your state. And so as you're here, I'd like to invite you to continue to just rest with your breath. And whenever you notice thinking, whether it's physical sensations in the body or some thought coming through your head or an emotion, just simply notice that and then lovingly say thinking and go back to your breath. And you just pay attention to the exhale. Every exhale allows you to let go of all the things that are not you, to continue to soften and open back to your true inner state. And anytime you notice a thought or something that distracts you from that state, you simply call it thinking, and you lovingly return to the exhale breath. I'll leave you here with you for a few moments, and then I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Gently return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, take a moment to check in. If there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape, by all means, please stay here. When movement does start to call you, allow it to enter the body in a gentle, nurturing, easy manner. As you're ready, you'll start to make your way over to your left side, and you'll just pause there for a few breath cycles. From there, you'll roll your chest more towards the floor, press into your right hand, and draw yourself up to a tall and comfortable seat. When you find yourself seated, take the opportunity to keep the gaze soft with the eyes closed. And then, just as we began, fidget around in order to find your center in the spine. And then notice where to plant your hands so the arms hang straight down and the heart is open. And then you'll just take 3 breaths. We'll complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Bring your hands to heart center, Anjali Mudra. Really press the palms into each other. Feel the weight of your thumbs into your sternum, your breastbone, and then lift that area back to your thumbs. Yep, soften your chin down towards your throat, and then exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in through the nose. Audible exhale out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May your thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open to that light, to that breath within each of you. We bow. Namaste.